Today we're going to be comparing the DF64 Turin grinder with the Niche Zero, and we're going to be answering the question, do I agree with what James Hoffmann said in his comparison video? And we're going to get a second set of eyes from a completely different level. James Hoffmann knows a lot and has experienced a lot with coffee, and I'm fairly new to the scene. So we're going to see if the professional's opinion still lines up with the intermediate person's opinion or the amateur's opinion on the daily use of these grinders, and if I'm happy with one or the other. So first off, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Cabine's Coffee Corner. This channel is designed to help you choose the gear you want to purchase for brewing at home. If you'd please like and subscribe, that really helps me produce more content. I also have an Instagram page. You're more than welcome to follow me there. It's Cabine's Coffee Corner, just like this channel. Lastly, there will be a few links in below. There will only be one affiliate link, and that affiliate link I'll make a little bit of commission at no extra charge to you, and that's simply going to be for this cheap little thing here. The rest of the links will be links to these grinders, and I will make no commission off of those. And lastly, I do want to note this grinder, the DF Turin, was given to me at a substantial discount for an exchange of a review. I've already done that review. This is completely opinion based on it. I was not paid to say good things about this or bad things about this. I had to purchase this grinder at a discount to give my opinion with no say for the person who gave me the discount. So fully honest, straight opinion. Let's dive into it. So we got this guy starting off at currently $450, and this guy at $735. I do think the price of this one is going to jump up eventually, though. So if it's $600, it's $600. We're still going to dive in it, but this one is slightly cheaper is where I'm going at it with. This one, they both do espresso and pour over and have stepless grind adjustments. This one did not have this little dial here. This is from Portakeeper, and this helps you kind of figure out your grind setting because this little indicator here was where it was at. Both of these hold a dosing cup that goes directly into a 58mm portafilter. So you put your portafilter here on top and you flip these over, and that will disperse the grounds into the portafilter perfectly. This one is a flat burr grinder, which means two burrs sitting on top of each other like this. This is a conical grinder versus, which is like a cone-shaped thing with another circle thing around it, and that's how it grinds. This one can hold a portafilter, although I've never really done it. I prefer to use the dosing cup to kind of distribute a little bit more this way. This one, both of these are built well. This one is a little bit heavier than the Niche Zero, but the Niche Zero does not feel cheap and light by any means with that. I found that you cannot change the grind. You have to hold both of these to change the grind setting on this, versus the Niche Zero you can do one-handed. The Niche Zero has this anti-popcorning lid on the inside popping up, and it also has a switch on the side. This one does not have any anti-popcorning thing on here, but you can 3D print one if you choose so. You can start this grinder by simply clicking this button here on the bottom. Some people will take this top metal lid off and they will put their grinds in there that way. I find it best if you just pick up this whole rubber plunger thing and put your grinds in directly that way. I find it a little bit easier to slide in and out than that one is. Both of these will do pour over very well. However, without using the Ross droplet technique, which is spraying a spritz of water over your beans, they will get quite messy on the inside of them. This one has cable storage, which means on the back you will have this little cord that you can pull in and out to make it the exact length that you want to. This one just is kind of chilling back here, and it can be really annoying on a countertop with how long it is. This one, you need to buy this little thing, and this little thing, basically you press on the top of it and it pushes air through your grinder to remove the excess grinds on the inside. This one has it built on the inside. This one comes with a brush. This one does not, but you can buy a brush pretty cheap. But it is nice that it does match the wood and it looks great with it. I don't know which one. I like this one better because it matches my gear, but I also don't really like this one in the looks of it aesthetically wise. That's just more opinion. I like how you can change the grind setting with one hand on this because of I don't know, it just slides a little bit easier. This one you kind of need both hands for. I noticed if you take these little rubber grips off on these things and you move them from the top of the prongs to the bottom of the prongs, you have no issue with this sliding out, and you have no issue with the grounds going into this. Some people, if you, depending on how you put this one in there, you might end up hitting this top part here. I honestly don't have too much of an issue with that personally myself. I do think you do need to buy this indicator though for $12 or whatever dollars that it is being sold for on Etsy. I think it makes it a little bit easier to do the grind settings. Lastly, this one is upgradable, like you can upgrade it, versus this one you cannot. So you can change the burrs out and you can take $200 into putting it in and making it a little bit better of a grinder, versus this one you can't really do. Aligning the burrs on this one, which means basically making sure like one burr, this is a bad example, but you have a flat burr here, and if you had a flat burr that was slightly angled, your grind setting is going to be uneven. So you have to align it perfectly, or close to perfectly, so you're getting even, consistent grinds. Through Espresso Outlet, if you install the SSP burrs in there, they'll align it for you, which is going to be way easier of a process than doing it on your own, but it can come with some alignment issues from the back. I haven't noticed too big of an issue with mine personally, but I've heard some cons about it in the past. So we're going to get into it. James Hoffmann preferred this one over the workflow. He didn't think that this one was bad, but he thought it was quirky because the font was different and it like just looked bad. They changed the font, it looks better. He didn't like the button here, and he just liked this one better for numerous reasons, but he didn't have problems with this. You can watch his video and I encourage you to do so. When I look at this for the consumer person who wants to basically pull the best shots of espresso that they can for the least amount of money possible, which is how I started things. I didn't want to spend a ton of money. I was a college student. I didn't have a ton of money to just dump into grinders. Obviously, as you can see, I've put more money into it down the road, but I just wanted to buy one and done and get the best I could. So I started with hand grinders, but I think this is a good entry level. Like if you're looking to brew espresso, I think one of these two grinders are the ones to go with. I wouldn't buy the Niche Zero. I pulled shots side by side with these. I dialed them in the best that I could to the grinders, and that's with the stock burrs in here, not the SSP burrs. I want to clarify, I do have the SSP burrs, and I'm going to put those in and make a video and compare those. But I took my Flair 58 with an Akai scale and this thing called the Smart Espresso Profiler, which is a Bluetooth transducer. This provided me charts that I could do, so I could basically make the identical shot of espresso using the charts of the exact amount of pressure and the exact amount of flow rate and the exact amount of coffee in and out with the same temperature, all the same parameters with the Turin and the Niche. So I did these shots side by side, and I did these over multiple days. So I did 2 shots a day, or a couple shots a day, comparing these side by side when they're dialed in. And then I did the same thing the next day. Same thing with a different pair of beans, and same thing. And I did this test a lot to make sure I got the correct opinion on this. Most of the time it was very, very close, and it was very, very kind of difficult to see the differences in it. But I felt like I got a lot more out of the Turin. Especially in the clarity realm of things, I felt like those floral notes of an Ethiopian coffee really pulled out more on this versus like maybe the chocolate and nutty types of things, which isn't typically my preference, would maybe pull out a little bit more on the Niche Zero. And a lot of that is because of the difference between flat burrs and conical burrs. So really these pair well together in the realm of the grand scheme of flavors, and sometimes you'll want to pull a coffee off of a conical burr than you would a flat burr, and vice versa. However, most of the time I prefer the shots out of this, and now on a regular morning I have both of these dialed in and set up side by side, and typically when I go to make a shot of espresso I just aim for the Turin. A lot of that is part of the workflow. I actually do prefer the button here. I do prefer the fact that the bellows are built in to it. I like the noise of the Turin, or the noise of the Niche better. It's a weird thing to say. I actually prefer the plastic dosing cup to the stainless steel one. I like the looks of the stainless steel one, but the plastic one seems more functional because I can see if the grounds are kind of level enough for me to pull this out without spilling it, versus the niche I just have to hope to get lucky on that. Overall, I like the aesthetics in my coffee bar with the niche over the Turin, which is annoying because I use the Flare 58 and I have a lot of control over it, and I like that, and it really helps me get the most out of my coffee, in my opinion, versus my Nuova Simonelli Oscar 1, which is at work, that I just kind of used for coffee there. But I like the Flare 58 better than my heat exchanger at the office. And I like the flavor that I get out of the Turin more than the niche, but the niche matches the 58 better than the Turin matches the 58. So I prefer to have the Turin in the office for aesthetic purposes and the niche at home for aesthetic purposes, but I prefer for functionality to have the Turin here and the niche at 0, because I prefer the better quality stuff here at home rather than the office. I know that sounds super ridiculous to say that, and I am very fortunate to have the gear that I have to do these YouTube videos and to compare these things that I never expected to have. So I want to thank you for your support on that. But overall, the features and the functionality of this, like, I wish the Turin had this cable storage. That sounds like the most not important thing out of everything, because it has nothing to do with anything. But having this cable sitting, you plug it in on the outlet, you try and cover up the cords behind, but it's a blump and you're sitting on your kitchen counter, so you can't drop the cable down below the countertop. If you had like a bar sitting like this, cable's not an issue. But if you're plugging it up here, you have this excess of cable that's annoying that you don't get with the niche, which just gives it a cleaner look. I love the fact that this is upgradable, and if this is already pulling better shots, I'm going to just say $150 less than the niche, but it could be more than that depending on how you get it. If it's already producing better shots without the SSP burrs than the niche, then it's only going to go uphill from there. Depending on how you buy it, you could be able to get things substantially cheaper for the Turin. You could be able to get the SSP burrs upgraded. I think you can now for $650, this with the SSP burrs, cheaper than the niche by almost $100. And I think that's the way to go. And I think I would choose the Turin, and I think they made some great upgrades on it since James Hoffmann got his months before I did. However, I just like the aesthetics of this better, and I think it looks better from my opinion. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions for it, this is just my espresso opinion. Both of them do great on pour overs. I just don't typically do pour overs, and I didn't feel like I had enough experience doing pour overs on a regular basis to really compare these well enough for you. But espresso wise, I would choose the Turin every single day, and that's what I typically do for when they're sitting next to each other on the counter. So I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video helps you in making the decision. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'd love to help you answer those questions.